Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to install Unity 2021 and Visual Studio 2022 and get them to work with one another, which is harder than you might imagine. However, even if you're using newer versions of those software packages, you should be golden. Newer versions usually work fine. If you're using older versions than I'm using, you may run into some problems. So those versions that I provide you with are the baseline that you're going to need. So now let's get straight ahead. So firstly, we will download Visual Studio. Now, in order to do that, you go to the link that I gave you in the resources, and then you scroll downwards, and somewhere you should see just Visual Studio 2022, and we will use the Community Edition, which is completely free. So we download this and install it, and this might take a little while. And then here we already come to a very important point in the installation process where we need to decide which packages we want to use. And we need two packages. We need the .NET desktop development and we need game development with Unity. Both of them are absolutely essential if you install it. Otherwise, we won't be able to use Unity and C# programs. Now, then we press install and this will take a while. Now, if you forgot to click those two, you can do this later on, and I will show you how to do this in another video where we will do some troubleshooting if something went wrong with the installation. All right, so it seems we finally finished installing. This just took me, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. Anyways, with this, we can now create our first project, and this is already something we should do. Now, if I create a new project, you should see this here, console app. Now, depending on new versions of Visual Studio, it might change slightly, but you should be able to select console app. And if you then press next, you can choose a name for your first application, and I'll just call it my first program. And then I choose a location. I'll put it on my desktop, but you should of course choose a destination that's suitable for you. And then we create the project. We can just select this. It doesn't really matter for us. And then we try if we installed this thing correctly. If you then see this screen, press play, and you see this console application, which just tells you hello world. Everything worked out perfectly. We'll leave it at that for now. We'll jump back into Visual Studio later. Now we will install Unity. If you now click on the second link I gave you, you should download the Unity Hub. Now this is important. You should download the hub, not Unity itself. We download the hub. Now the hub is basically kind of like a launcher where you can manage your Unity project and your Unity installations, because you could have multiple different versions of your Unity installation. So I'll just pick a location that fits me. And once it is installed, we just run it. So once you open Unity Hub, you should see something like this. However, this should be empty. And you need to first create an account in order to do anything. I already have one, so I will just sign in. And once you're there, you should click on Manage Licenses. And then you should see this personal license. If this doesn't show up in here, press Add and get a free personal license. Of course, that's free, shouldn't be any problem for you. Now you're already set up to go. So press on installs, and then you can see I already have 2 installations. Now you need to press install editor. And here you can see the editor versions that are all currently available. So usually you can use this official releases. These are the beta releases. I highly recommend you don't use beta releases. I have very, very bad experiences using them. They are really, really full of bugs. And if you want to get an older version, which I use very frequently, you go to the archive, select download archive, and then you can pick the version you want to use in here. Now, at the time I'm recording this, which is basically in April 2022, this is the most recent version. If you want to get an older version, just press this button and it will start download in the Unity Hub. Hopefully most things are not checked. You can usually uncheck the documentation in order to make the download smaller, but you can also install it so you don't have to go to the website to check the documentation. I uncheck it because I usually go to the internet anyways. Then you press install and your installation should start. Now, let me give you a few tips. I highly suggest you use exactly this version because this is the version I'm creating the course for. If you want to use a newer version, that's absolutely no problem. It should work also, but whenever you open a project that I give you, you will have to upgrade the project to the newest version, which shouldn't be a problem usually. Now that we have downloaded Unity, let's click on Projects, New Project. Then here we call it My First Unity Project, and I will again put it on the desktop. You choose a location of your liking. Then we press 2D, Create Project. Alright, so this next part is absolutely crucial, so try to follow along and pause the video if I'm going too fast. Now, we will have to press here Edit, Preferences, External Tools. And up here, and this is absolutely crucial, you need to make sure that Visual Studio 2022 is selected. If there's something else selected, you need to change it to this one. And once you've done this, press Regenerate Project Files. All right, you only have to do this once. This will work for all the projects you're going to create later on. So next we create right mouse button down, create C# script. And you can leave the name, it doesn't matter right now. This is now an empty script. We now select the main camera and drag this script on the camera, like this. Then you can double click the script and you can program something in here. And for starters, we're going to write just game. And if Visual Studio already suggests game object, you should already be fine. But just to be sure, let's write debug.log hello world and use a semicolon at the end. That's pretty important. Then save everything, go back to Unity, press play. And now if we go to the console, you should see this hello world message here. And if you can see this, you're absolutely fine. The software is installed correctly and you can start with the course. Now, I do realize that this was pretty fast, so maybe you have to spool back the video and watch it again and pause everything so you can get your installation in order. Now, I know this video wasn't the most exciting one, but unfortunately you have to install the software to get started with game programming, so there's no getting around that. And with that said, let's have a look at our first game.